Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. Well, Google AI overviews, they've changed a lot, haven't they, in the last week? Google actually wrote an entire blog post about a week ago because of all the drama that's been going on. The public has been finding crazy answers in AI overviews, whether it's just really weird, all the way to like dangerous answers the AI has been given. And now the AI overviews have dropped dramatically. The visibility is down to about 15% of what it was before. And so we're going to talk about that, what it means, how it's impacting search results, and some of our thoughts going forward on AI overviews. And then we have one or two additional news stories that we're going to cover here, mostly related to the Google leaks that we talked about last week. We have a little bit more information and thought about how you can implement this both strategically and tactically in your own business if you have access to this Google API warehouse data leak. And so we're going to dive into that. That's going to be our two main stories for the day. And then, of course, we have a couple of what I will say interesting updates for our side hustles. I'll just tease that and then we'll bring it home with our two weird niche sites. So, Jared, you've got another background this week. It seems like 3 weeks now in a row you're at a different spot. Where are you at? What's going on?
I am in Boise, Idaho, about to start the ConvertKit. What do they call it? Craft and Commerce, their annual conference. You know, I was saying that you've been here before. It looks like we didn't time it right. You were here last year and I'm here this year, but we would have gotten to meet up for listeners the second time ever.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But it's Boise is actually about a 4.5 hour drive from where I'm at. And so I've gone to that one about 3 times because I can just hop in my car and go and get there in one day. But this year, my daughter is graduating high school on Friday, and so I need to be at that graduation.
It's a good point. I tried to see if anybody was going to be here or try to gather a couple friends and to come out there. But if you are at the conference, make sure to stop over and say hi. But as we say, the show must go on. I'm looking forward to the day because we're talking about AI overviews, which really we've been talking about SGE and what that has evolved to for a year plus now. And then we're also talking about this leaks thing. And I think we're going to be talking about that for many, many years to come.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump into it here. I'm going to share my screen and maybe we'll sort of talk about Google's blog post first. Liz Reed, the VP, head of Google Search, she put out a sort of PR piece, if you will, a response to all the backlash very publicly. I mean, BBC News, CNN, Business Insider, The Verge, all major publications have been covering the fact that, boy, AI overviews is giving a lot of really weird answers. You know, we've all heard them. We talked about it. You know, how do you prevent cheese from sliding off your pizza? Well, just put an 1/8 cup of glue in your recipe and you'll be good to go. A lot of things like that. How many rocks should you eat every day? Well, one every day is going to be great for you. So all these crazy answers. And so Liz Reed responded to this. It's what would you say? Very much sort of PR speak, right? She says all the right things in terms of, you know, we're taking a careful approach. We're just kind of taking things one step at a time. And a lot of the responses are just crazy queries that nobody's really typing in. And so those should be ignored. And we're starting to, you know, rein that in. They sort of say, hey, we're doing all these things. They have a whole section about, you know, the odd results that are coming in. She does say, and it's very possible, that there was a large number of faked screenshots that were shared, you know, all over the place. That's very possible. But then she does jump in and say a lot of the weird AI queries you saw were real, right? And they're trying to do better, right? One of those is one thing that, you know, doesn't make Google look great is they sort of admit that, hey, now I lost the line here, is that AI hallucinates, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's a feature, right, of AI. It's going to make up answers and they're doing the best to rein that in. Isn't a comforting thing for me. Do you ever get stuck in your business and wish you had someone you could turn to for solutions? Well, I think you should consider joining the Niche Pursuits community.
You'll get weekly calls with experts on growing a successful online business, and you'll also get assigned a small mastermind group where you can solve your business problems as well as share your wins. For a limited time, I'll let you try out the Niche Pursuits community for just $1. Go ahead and use coupon code PODCAST at checkout in order to get your first month for just $1. Again, that's coupon code PODCAST. Go to community.nichepursuits.com today and see what it's all about. And maybe I'll see you on our call next week. Thanks a lot.
And then they've made a lot of improvements, right? They've built better detection mechanisms for nonsensical queries. They've updated their systems to limit the use of user-generated content in responses. Reddit, that could offer misleading advice. We added triggering restrictions for queries where AI overviews were not proving to be as helpful. And then finally, for topics like news and health, we already have strong guardrails in place. Basically just saying they're trying to be more careful.
Well, and Spencer, just to add a little bit, if I could, to correct, I think. What Liz said was, and here I'm reading it, this means that AI overviews generally don't hallucinate the way other LLM products do. When they get it wrong, it's usually because, and then you alluded to this, misinterpreting queries, misinterpreting nuance of language, not having a lot of great information. And it kind of puts almost into the forefront of what you were saying, which is when you're using UGC content to train your, what it looks like AI overviews. And we featured a comment on Reddit from a couple weeks ago where someone said the best way to lose 10 pounds is to chop your arm off. Obviously, that's a Reddit way of approaching things, which is what makes Reddit popular, not Google. But now we're trying to make Google into Reddit, but we're getting it all wrong. It's I don't know. I just don't see how Google did themselves any favors here by the way they approached it and then the way they're kind of blaming it now on something that they purposely incorporated.
Right, exactly. As humans, we read that and we go, oh, it's some idiot Reddit person trying to be funny, right? But the AI is interpreting this as, well, there's not a lot of other information, so we're going to run with this and actually tell people, right? And so that was all the bad press that they got. So just the fact that, we've been talking about this a lot, and then the VP, the head of search, the VP of search comes out, Google has to publicly sort of do damage control, means it's a really, really big deal.
And she's right. There were a lot of really off the wall, whimsical things like what to do about pizza, all that kind of stuff. And yes, that was what was getting the buzz, because let's be honest, it's more interesting and less serious than all the medical queries that it was getting wrong. The legit medical queries that it was making answers that were dangerous, I don't think anybody reading what to do with pizza would put glue in their pizza, but there were lots of screenshots. I guess she's saying fabricated, but lots of screenshots of queries that were legit queries, many of them medical related, that were absolutely false.
Right. And just to hit on this one point that she made one more time, right? She's talking about, how many rocks should I eat? These are, sort of nonsensical, queries that, nobody really is searching for this seriously, right? They might type it into Google to get a funny answer, right? But she says there isn't much web content that seriously contemplates that question. This is what is often called a data void or information gap, where there's a limited amount of high quality content about a topic, right? This always just makes me go back and think about the importance of small publishers, right? Those people that are diving deep onto a particular subject, right? Certainly not nonsensical things, but is providing a lot of valuable content on a very minute sort of topic or subject, diving deep into whatever it may be that nobody else really does. So the importance of small publishers, I don't think, can be understated, right? Yeah, because otherwise you're left with crazy answers from the Reddit users that maybe are just joking or trying to have fun with it. So that's just my one thing, as I think about how Google should look at small publishers.
The downside of choosing, in essence, UGC content over small publishers.
Right. Exactly. And so that's all the preface for what I'll call sort of the main story. So what happened? Did they just, like she said, they're tweaking their systems, they're making them better. Of course, it's a very positive spin saying, hey, we're going to get it all right. We're, thank you for sharing all this information. We're updating our systems and we're taking care of it. Well, when the rubber meets the road, according to a study, and I'll share who did this in a second, but it's published on Search Engine Land. Google AI overviews visibility drops, only showing for 15% of queries. And it was once as high as 84% of queries when it was known as the search generative experience, right? When they were testing it out. So the amount of times, the amount of queries the AI overviews is now showing has dramatically dropped. It appears in the last week or two. And so what it seems like, even though, the VP of search says, hey, we're tweaking it, we're going to still show all these things, the reality is they're scaling it back. Google is scaling things back dramatically and just showing it up, showing AI overviews less and less.
Yeah, it's a massive drop. I mean, it's almost a full scale recall at this point. It's showing, one of the data points was they're 195% more likely to appear when queries have a featured snippet. And so it makes sense. Like it almost, it logically makes sense that if Google was already using a featured snippet style answer, the AI overview kind of mirrors that in style. And these are queries that already had seemingly had some reasoning for this style of approach, but across the board, just dramatic drop-offs. And some of those, I think we've talked about this in the past, Spencer. They talked about local restaurants, travel. I think those had a sharp decrease out of all the different areas that saw the downturn.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And we can look at that, we've got a chart here that kind of shows this, right? Restaurants and travel, apparently it's not showing up hardly at all for. Finance is only 5%, 32% for B2B tech, 23% for e-commerce. And then healthcare expected to vary, but it's as high as 63% of queries.
That's the most puzzling thing of all to me, because it seems like where you're going to get in the most hot water with AI overviews is when it comes to health, wealth, finance, all the YMYL topics. And when you look at a chart like this, it's finance is low, healthcare is high, but healthcare specifically just seems to be the biggest flashpoint for them to be concerned about. I mean, if they get a restaurant wrong, whatever, but I don't know. It's very interesting. This is a fascinating graph because it would fly in the face of what I would just, little Jared think would be the best thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, it is interesting. It says this study, it looks like it is comparing, at least in this case, since January, right? It's kind of comparing what was showing up in January to now. So it's been a few months dramatically, but I don't know if you call this, what do you call it? Do you call this good news for small publishers? I guess so. In my head is like, well, things that aren't changing is a good thing, right? If there's not as many AI overviews, we thought that this is going to be dramatic and suddenly 100% of queries, we're going to be getting AI overviews. That's now down to just 15%. I'd call that a good thing. It's a slow change and we'll see where it all ends up, but Google's certainly gotten themselves in a lot of hot water up to this point. I do want to just give a shout out to, it looks like it was Bright Edge Labs. So, Bright Edge is the one that produced this study and really is what we're all referencing here. All the data came from them. So if people want to jump in and look at that in more depth. So, and then, you mentioned this already, that AI overviews are 195% more likely to appear when queries have a featured snippet, which I don't know, that's just sort of fascinating to me, is that we've got a featured snippet and an AI overview, I guess, both showing at the same time. But
why
not?
What
they're doing.
Why not?
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't know. Anything else you think we need to dig into on this? Otherwise, we can kind of look at some of the takeaways from the API leak.
No, I think we'll be talking about this AI overview thing for a while. I don't think this means it's going away. It just means it.
Yeah.
Another botched rollout that we've seen happen over the past couple of years, with rollouts just not going well. Remember Gemini?
Oh, terrible rollout.
So I think that's the headline isn't that AI overviews is going away permanently or anything like that. I think the headline really here is another botched rollout.
Yeah, that's a good point. And They appear to be all in on this. So, again, we don't expect the AI overviews are going to go away, but it's certainly being fine-tuned, reduced, and may take a much longer time to roll out than they initially announced. So having said that, the main story that we covered last week, of course, was, this Google API leak where we got so much information on how Google search works. So at least we got a lot of notes on the actual code that is used. We learned that there's labels for small personal website. There's labels for, all sorts of things that were rumored, like site authority really is a thing. All these data points that we learned about actually do impact search results. And so Mike King, one of the couple of people that initially sort of broke the news on this leak, wrote another really long article here for Search Engine Land. It takes 25 minutes to read, Jared. So we're not going to read it all or cover everything that's in this.
I just read it word for word on my plane ride.
That's a great way to pass the time if you're on an airplane. But we just need to hit the highlights for everybody. I'm not going to go into a lot of, there's been a lot of reactions and common criticisms, and I'll just hit on that. A lot of people are saying, oh, we already knew that those things were important, but Mike kind of doubles down and say, hey, we didn't really know about some of these things. And here's what's actually applicable and how you might change SEO in the future, how you might apply these principles to your own website. So Google has confirmed that this is a real leak. This is something that we can pay attention to. And so let's just hit on a couple of things. So he has some of the most interesting things that he found. One is that Google can specify a limit of results per content type, right? So they do have all of these labels like small personal website or news website or e-commerce website. And they might change how many times a blog might appear in the top 10 results or on the first 20 results, right? And so that's kind of new information that is really interesting. YouTube search. I won't go into this a lot other than I saw sort of a tweet of somebody that did notice that YouTube comments appear to be a ranking factor for your video in YouTube. That's never really been confirmed before, but I can tell you that I am now trying to respond to every single YouTube comment that I get, because maybe that's going to help my video do a little bit better, right? So that's kind of an aside, but for YouTube. Okay, now this chart here I thought was interesting, right? He poses the question, do you really think Google is purposely torching small sites? Because we did learn, hey, there's this tag for small personal site. We don't know. He basically says, hey, I don't know, but there is a lot of evidence of small sites losing most of their traffic, and Google is sending less traffic to the long tail of the web, right? And that's likely impacting publishers like us, smaller publishers. And so this chart was interesting. It took me a minute to figure out the blue and the pinks here, but essentially, if you just look at the pink here is the top 100 sites in the world. I guess we'll say the top 170 sites, largest sites, big publishers, is this pink. So in January of 2023, they were referring about 42%, or they're getting about 42% of the clicks. Now they're getting over 45% of the clicks, right? So that's gone up 3%, meaning that's at least 3% less going to smaller websites or longer tail. That's how I interpret this chart, right? And when you think about 3% of billions and billions of clicks, right, that's a lot of traffic.
I also think when you combine the facts of what you mentioned already, and he kind of talks a bit about this, that there's a certain number of spaces perhaps allocated in each SERP result for certain types of sites, attributes probably being used in classification here, and you've got large sites winning more and more, and you have this small personal site, attribute. And this is a quote from him: "If the sites in question would be considered small personal sites," he's referring to these sites that have gotten pummeled by the HCU, "then Google should give them a fighting chance with a boost that offsets the unfair advantage big brands have."
I agree with that.
I was going to say, Spencer, that guy, he must have listened to your rant. Mike must have listened to your rant last week.
I guess so. Or it's really the right answer, and a lot of us are coming to the same
Or it's just
conclusion.
the right answer, yeah. Hey, you referenced Baby Panda last week.
Yes.
He said in this article, I thought this was interesting to note that I'd point out, quote, "Someone with knowledge of Google's internal systems was able to answer that the Baby Panda references an older system and is not the helpful content update." And again, quoting, "I, however, stand by my hypothesis that HCU exhibits similar properties to Panda, and it likely requires similar features to improve for recovery." I thought that was a very interesting takeaway.
I agree. That was interesting because we did kind of connect the dots there between the HCU, and it felt like that it was related, right? And so, yeah, I agree with that assessment that it's probably got similar features. Similar things are going to be needed to recover, right? And he sort of says a worthwhile experiment would be to be trying to recover traffic to a site hit by the HCU by systematically improving click signals and links to see if it works. So trying to get more clicks, whether that's sending more external traffic of your own or however you're going about that, see if that improves things over time, could be an interesting test, according to him. All right. Let's see here. There is a section where he specifically talks about, okay, how should we tactically go about, changing SEO and things that we are doing directly, right? So, and it's all the way down here.
It is down near the bottom.
Here we go.
You're talking about
how your approach to SEO should change tactically, right? And so we'll I'll read a couple, and then you can point out a couple that you feel strongly about if I miss them here. But page titles can be as long as you want, right? There used to be this character limit that we felt, hey, it's got to be under 60 or 70 characters, but it really doesn't matter. The other thing, and Rand Fishkin actually mentioned this as well, use fewer authors on more content. Because author authority is important. And he says, quote, "We've learned that link value is higher." Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. He says,
a lot of info here.
Yeah. Rather than using an array of freelance authors, you should work with fewer that are more focused on subject matter expertise and also write for other publications, right? Because then you get more bang for your buck in terms of, hey, they've got lots of mentions. They're clearly have more authority. So rather than hiring 5 or 10 authors, just find 1 or 2 great ones that have published all over the web. That's probably going to be your best bet. And then one more that I'll point out, default to originality instead of long form. And that's something that people have kind of been talking about for a while now. But this kind of confirms some of those assumptions, is that do your best to have really original content, even if it's just 500 words of stuff that hasn't been published elsewhere or regurgitated all over the web. You're going to do a lot better than if you publish a 5,000 word blog post that's essentially just rehashed information. And so that's good and bad, right? It's on the surface, it seems like it'd be easier to write a 500 word article, but it's a little bit harder to come up with something original. So but that's where you should lean, is originality instead of long form. So
yeah, I agree with you. Like we kind of touched on it last week. Many of the things that are surfaced and the theories that came from them are things that in part or parcel have been getting tested and are theories that have been shared prior. So this is just kind of more evidence of it, right? Many of them are newer or more, I'll say, more adopted previously than before. I like your point. I mean, I think the author thing is really, really important. We learned more about how Google, when it comes to authors, how expertise plays into that, and how their prominence on other, and we'll call it major publications, plays into it. I know at our agency, we've always focused, well, the last couple of years, we've really focused links based more on traffic metrics and more on relevance metrics than we do on things like DR. DR is a classic one to go off of, but his findings would continue to suggest like, hey, ironically, even though we now know for the first time there kind of is a domain rating for Google, when it comes to the links, it's really about how, as he puts it, how prioritized they are in the index, and also how relevant they are. And so, those are some interesting findings, I think, that people can really understand and take, one step further in what they're doing.
Yep, exactly. And then the maybe the final point that I will make about this one is use old domains with extreme care, right? It's no longer good enough to just buy an old domain, slap on new content, and you'll be good to go. You need to be a lot more careful, right? It says you need to take a structured approach to updating the content to phase out what Google has in its long-term memory, right? They kind of store what used to be on the site, and if you're changing what it is, right, Google's going to know.
And again, and we said this last week, but it's worth saying it again just for clarity. Like, this isn't a leak of the actual ranking factors.
Right.
Because when we say ranking factors, there's more than just a mention of something like site authority or small personal site. We would need to understand the significance each of these attributes plays, and we don't know that. We don't
100%.
know if some of these are depreciated or whatnot. Now, this is a pretty recent file. Odds are most of this isn't depreciated, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, if it's listed, we can use that. We can use those attributes to fuel and funnel how they reference it, what they use to reference it, but it isn't a direct correlation to, or I guess causation to ranking.
Yeah. Yep. Excellent point. So yeah, I think that's probably a good update for how to apply this API leak to your own website. AI overviews have decreased a little bit. We have a little bit more information about how the algorithm works in general. And so we'll keep sharing this news and the findings in future weeks on the podcast. So be sure to keep coming back for more. But let's go ahead and jump into shiny object shenanigans.
All right.
I'm actually really excited to hear about your update.
Why is that?
Well, I believe you teased on the podcast last week that you were going to finally give an update on your Amazon influencer. And so it's been a little while since we had an official update.
I found a smoking gun too.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
A smoking gun.
Yes, I did. I found an answer with Amazon influencers. It's very difficult because the data is so poor. You just get so little of it. So pretty impressed with myself.
All right. Well, people hang on to the edge of your seats with that because I'm going to go first, if that's all right. Mm-hmm. I'm going to share what I'm working on. And boy, oh boy, I don't know what happened over the weekend, but I just decided it is time to start a brand new side project. And so that's what I did. I think it was today's Wednesday, so Tuesday. So I think it was Monday, actually, just 2 days ago. I was like, you know what? It would be really interesting to see if I can build a brand new Facebook page from scratch and make $1,000 from it in 30 days. And so that's what I did. Yesterday was day one. I started this 30-day challenge from scratch. I've started a brand new Facebook page with the goal of driving traffic from that page to my website and make $1,000. And so we're 2 days in. Today's day two. And so yesterday I created the Facebook page. I created, the cover image, everything to make it look great. I added about 5 or 6 actual posts to the page, so it looked lived in a little bit. And then I launched 2 ad campaigns, page likes campaigns. The goal is to get it, I don't know the number, but I'm going to spend $10 or $20 a day and try and get 5 or 10,000 followers as quick as possible so that I can then start posting content on the page, start driving traffic to my website, make money through display ads is the goal. And so, yesterday I created 2 ad campaigns. I launched them, created some images in Canva, went out and launched it. And I'm going to give a live update. I'm going to hit refresh on my screen. As of right now, I now have 159 followers to that page.
Okay.
And it's probably been almost exactly 24 hours since I launched this page. And so, not big, but I do have 159 followers now. And I will share this screenshot.
Well, I'll just say to you, if you keep up that pace, you'll be at 4,800 followers after 30 days.
Okay, well, I better go at least that fast.
First day of an ad campaign is historically the worst performing day.
Yep.
At least for an ad that's gonna do okay. That'll be one of the worst performing days.
Yeah, and I don't think, and of course, it didn't spend my entire budget, yesterday, because I launched it late afternoon yesterday.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you published and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code podcast for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code podcast to get $15 off.
So this kind of gives old data. I think it was updated as of last night. So I don't think this is providing any of today's data, but I just thought, hey, we're going to do this all the way. It shows new page followers of 36, but really there's 159. But you can see, hey, I got 28 reactions so far. I've got post reach 431.
You've got 4 link clicks.
And I have 4 link clicks, which is fascinating because I didn't put any links within my posts. They're all just memes, engagement posts. But there is a link on sort of the homepage of the Facebook page. So they must have gone to my About page and actually clicked the link. So I actually have sent 4 visitors to my website. So that's where I'm at. We've just launched, brand new project, made no money, but 159 followers in.
I love the challenge. I mean, it's so fun. I was saying, man, you should have given all of us a heads up. I mean, we could have participated. But it's good. You're going to do it solo, so that's fine. Are there any like rules? Like, can you spend your way to the $1,000 earnings?
Well, it's just me and the challenge. So if I break my own rules, it's like, who cares? But no, I think I would be willing to spend up to. I'd be willing to break even in the first 30 days. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah.
So if I spend $1,000 building up the Facebook page itself, get it to 10,000 followers, and I can make $1,000 in revenue, I would be ecstatic.
Odds are you're not going to have to spend $1,000 to get the 10,000 followers, and so that's why I was wondering, like, do you have a budget to put towards what we call click arbitrage, or just trying to get people to click over to your site, or are you just going to go with the page followers and then let the organic traffic from the followers you attract?
That's what I'm going to try and do.
Yeah, and then the earnings are going to come from what on the site? Is it monetized? How is it monetized?
Yeah, so the site is monetized with Mediavine. So this is an older site that I have that was hit by the HCU. It's a site that I've had for a decade, right? Wow. And it was approved on Mediavine a long time ago. It's kind of a site that I've just forgotten about for honestly like 3-4 years. And so I figured, you know what? I've got this site. Let's do this. I still think it'll be interesting because it's truly a brand new page. I'm going to only count traffic, coming from that page for this particular challenge. But because it's on Mediavine, I've already got display ads there. So as I get up to, I don't know, call it a couple thousand followers. So it might be about a week before I really try and drive traffic to my website. I'm going to just try and have an engaging page, get it to a couple thousand followers, and then start mixing in new blog posts. I'm going to write new blog posts on the site that hopefully are very engaging, that then I post on the Facebook page, right? And hopefully they go semi-viral, a few of them, and send thousands of visitors over to my website. And I make money from display ads, Mediavine. So.
Well, Spencer, it's going to be a Facebook heavy month here. So we're going to be talking each week, I presume, about this 30-day challenge you have going. Yeah. We also have a really good interview going live on the podcast in the month of June, all about basically this strategy.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to listen to it.
I was going to
later today.
I'm not even
tomorrow.
Sure if you're aware that we have that coming live. Maybe you should listen to it so you can get some tips.
I do know it's there. We can tease who the guest is, right? Why not? Andy Scraga is going to be. He's already recorded the interview just yesterday, I guess.
Yesterday, yeah.
And so I'm
fresh on my mind
ahead of time. And it'll be released. I'll have to look at the date. It might be 2 weeks,
probably
something like
2 to 3 weeks out. Yeah.
Is what we got. So I will just say I had shared how much these followers have cost me.
Yeah.
Right. So it was something like $12. I've spent like $12. But it's anyway, long story short, as of this morning, I had calculated my campaigns were averaging about 13 cents a like.
Okay.
Which is, it's okay. I'm hoping after a couple of days, it definitely gets down below 10 cents. Yep. I would like to get to 5 cents a like. So I'm going to launch a couple more campaigns, see if they do better out of the gate. So I'm going to be testing out probably 10 different ad campaigns in the next few days. Try to get to 5 cents a like, and then we'll just grow it from there. I will. Go ahead.
I was going to say, given some of the data you shared in the past about how you've gotten as low as 3 cents, you've historically been able to get to that 5, 6, 7 cent mark. I've gotten to 3 to 5 cents on my newsletter Facebook page. So, I imagine you'll crack the 10 cent mark pretty soon. You just started yesterday. It's brand new.
Yeah, just started yesterday. Exactly. So we'll give it some time to run. If people want more information on this challenge, I am revealing a lot more details in the Niche Pursuits community. Now, that is a paid community, but I am revealing the actual Facebook page, my website, the ad campaigns, the images, like everything. You can go check out the Facebook page. You can see my website. I got nothing to lose. Like I said, right now it's just kind of a fun challenge. Maybe I can make a couple $1,000 here and there. And so if you want to join the community, just go over to community.nichepursuits.com. Once you join, there's a Discord group, and that's where all the chat is happening in the Facebook channel. I'm providing daily updates there. And so, like I said, I just shared with everyone there today what my Facebook page is. And so, yeah, if people want to check that out, go to the Niche Pursuits community for that. Anyways, we'll be talking about this for the next few weeks.
I love it. June is Facebook month. Bring it on. Right. I love it. So many people interested in this topic, especially people looking to do exactly what you're talking about. A site they had that maybe was on the fringes of their focus and got hit by the HCU.
Yep. So I'm going to kind of guinea pig it for everybody and share my results. So Jared, like I said, I'm very excited to hear about your Amazon influencer update. I didn't even really look at the numbers that I could have. So I'm going to just get it live with everybody else.
Well, I will tease, and I shared this on Twitter this week. So I'm doing a much better job of teasing what I'm going to talk about in the coming weeks. It's almost like I have a content calendar here in my head of side hustles. But my newsletter project, side hustle that I've been talking about, is starting to get actual traction in the monetization camp. I shared a screenshot of my wrap div doing that nice up and to the right curve. So we'll be talking about that next week. But I'm starting to make triple to quadruple the money that I was making on that site on Rapid. Now, it wasn't much, thanks to getting creamed by the HCU, but we'll talk about that next week. This week is Amazon Influencer. So May's results came in. I guess you're not sharing results anymore. So I'm left to kind of talk this influencer thing through on my own. April's numbers, if you remember, I made just over $4,000. I did upload 20 or 30 videos towards the tail end of that month. And May was, I would say, on par with April in terms of clicks and in terms of overall traffic to the videos. It came in at just under $3,500. Nice. So it did drop, not by much, albeit. I also only uploaded 3 videos in the month of May. And I think I did those on like May 31st or something. So wow. Actually, you commented on it a couple weeks ago. I was in a different location. I was at an Airbnb. I managed to crank out 3, I thought 4, maybe I did 4, 3 or 4 videos at that Airbnb. Using that method I talked about that several people commented on. But here's the interesting thing. So again, pull back a second. Like, I hardly uploaded any content in May, 3 or 4 videos, and I made $3,500. I mean, again, the side hustle that just keeps on giving. Wow. I am up to almost 1,200 videos. And so a lot of the videos that I made a year ago that were my initial sales are now coming back because seasonality, spring and summer, is coming back into form, and people are rebuying those same products. If I was really good, I would go back to all my old videos and I would make sure that I still had tagged the correct product that was in stock. Because brands update, they change, a product goes out, it's still the same product, but they put it on a different storefront, et cetera, et cetera. So if I was, i.e. if you're listening and you have more time with your influencer account, think about that. These products change that you tagged originally. Some think Amazon still figures it out, but if you can go back and figure that out. But anyways, didn't do that. Here's the smoking gun I was talking about. So I was like, if click metrics were about the same, traffic, video views, all that about the same, why did I drop 20% or so? So I started digging. Here's the interesting thing. In April, I had a total of 209 returns. When products get returned, you get your commission yanked back out. That's why they do that 60-day payout. So 209 returns in April. In May, I had 501 returns.
Wow.
It's 150% increase.
Yeah.
I think I figured out what happened.
Well, what happened?
It's a funny story. I traced the returns, the majority of them, over 100 of them, to one single day.
Oh, really?
And when you start looking at what got returned, I am about 99% sure that somebody bought a truckload of stuff on Amazon for their wedding, had their wedding, and then returned it all.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I got 180 woven placemats returned, as an example.
Wow. Tablecloths,
plates, silverware.
Certainly a big party going on.
So anyways, a bit of a funny story. And I'm pretty sure that that's where that 500, couple hundred, the majority of that gap exists, is when I look at it. Having a 150% increase in returns month over month is going to substantiate a 10 to 15 to 20% drop in earnings comparatively month over month. So that makes sense. And it's encouraging, in my opinion, because maybe that means that June will carry on the same way. And hopefully we don't have some wedding bash, some cheapskate wedding bash.
It is wedding season, right?
It is wedding season. So anyways,
that's interesting though.
Those are my numbers. And a little bit of deep diving that's the deepest I think I've ever gotten into the Amazon influencer numbers to date.
Yeah. Wow, man, you're doing really well.
It's going well.
Does it make you want to hire some people and record a bunch of videos and do a bunch more? Or?
Yes and no. It's almost the fact that I'm doing so well actually makes me not want to do anything more. Because, and hear me out, I'm not being facetious. Like, if I was seeing trends where the more video I put up there, the more I made, but there's no correlation. Months I put up a ton of videos, months I don't put up a ton of videos. I just seem to kind of be in a flat, slightly growing, but not in a pattern where I can see direct correlation to more videos equaling more direct revenue. Logically, it makes sense, but not logically enough in the numbers and the data to make me want to go out there and do that.
To go and invest a bunch, yeah, and spend more time and have to manage people, and there's a lot to it.
As you know, there's more than just wave a magic wand and it goes live. And to your point, yeah, like I guess I would want to see more data that the months I don't put as many videos up, I don't earn as much. And the months I put a lot more videos up, I earn more. I did do 15 videos this week, all seasonal, all summer stuff, basically all outdoor, warm weather, things you're going to do. And I tried to piggyback off what I learned last year and go for very high earning high priced products. So, I'm trying to skip the things like the pool floaties and focus on the really expensive things that you do outside.
Yeah. Very good. That is awesome to see. Of course, I can see my Amazon influencer, and so it's still doing well. Not quite as well as yours. Eventually, I'll come back and provide a bigger update. Okay. But for people listening, right, that are either still on the fence about it, it's like, hey, we did the bulk of our work like 6 months ago or a year ago on a lot of these videos, and it's still earning. And yours is doing better than mine, so it's awesome to see.
I mean, Spencer, it was exactly 6 months ago. 6 months ago today, it was December 5th. That's really the last time you or I put any serious effort into this. We have, I mean, I don't know, how many videos have you done since then? Probably 25.
Yeah, and even those that I uploaded like may have been recorded at the end of last year.
So, I mean, we're really 6 months from doing anything substantial. In your case, anything at all. In my case, anything substantial. Still seeing, I mean, I'm guessing you're still in the 4 figures per month?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there you go. I mean, goodness gracious.
Can't complain.
You're on to your next side hustle.
Well, that's what that's kind of been my thought, is like, I got this one side hustle. It's making whatever, 4 figures a month. It's like, well, I'm going to invest that on a Facebook page, and I'm willing to spend $1,000 on this Facebook page. And
I mean, that's a great way to look at it, though. And for everybody listening, like your Facebook project in the month of June, will be entirely covered by your earnings from the influencer program from the month of June.
Exactly. 100%. So you get a couple of side hustles like that, snowball it, and all of a sudden,
the
you're
flywheel effect.
Flywheel effect. All right, let's jump into our weird niche sites. We've only got, 10, 15 minutes here left. And so we don't want to leave people hanging, because I know they love sticking around for these weird niche sites. This is one that I found on my own.
Your URL looks so weird. I just looked at it for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know how to quite introduce this URL. But this is one that I sort of went down a rabbit hole, and I found this site on my own. So full credit goes to me. It looks like I like it because it looks like it's an ode to something built in the mid 90s. Right? But it was built in 2017. 2017 is when they built this site. All right. Let me tease some of the stats. So this site gets about 180,000 organic visitors a month.
You've got to be kidding me.
And in some months, over 1 million visitors a month total. In the last couple of months, it looks like it's averaging about 800,000 visitors total to the website. So without further ado, the website is r74n.com, and 7 and 4 are just numbers. So it's 4 characters total. r74n.com. I don't know what that means. So let me share my screen so that everyone can appreciate it in all of its glory here. Boom. There it is, with the purple, green, yellow colors really popping with the black background. And it's got a list of just a bunch of like mini games is kind of what I'll call these. But the one that does the best that I'll just share here is called Sandboxels. And it's a sand falling simulator, as it's called. And so you can come in here, and by default, you have sand selected, and I can just draw my cursor, right, and build a pile of sand. But then you can click on rock and drop a bunch of rock. You can drop, we've got gases, and then I'll drop hydrogen. Okay, so that one actually Is there any that drop? Propane would drop, right? Okay. You can then go, I've got liquids. Well, let's go to life. Algae. Let's put some algae in there. See what happens.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, over time, a fly, right? I don't even know if I can see that. But over time, these things can start interacting with each other and doing all sorts of things. So if I go back to, sure, let's add some mud on top of that. Anyways, I'm not very, I'm pretty amateur at this game apparently, but I'm sure it gets a lot more exciting the more you play around with it.
I'm sure.
I'm sure it does, and you can just hit reset, and you reset your scene, and you're off and running. But that's pretty much it. But if I go to, so I'll share Ahrefs over here. You can see that the majority of the organic traffic is people searching for sandboxels, right? Sandbox game, sandboxels, all, falling sand game. And overall, again, the site traffic has done very well over the last 6 months. It's now up to about 147,000, almost 180,000 at its peak here in April. And so it's getting, a lot of people now are searching for that game. And then I will share SimilarWeb that showed a couple months ago, it hit 1 million visitors. Now it's closer to about 800,000 visitors overall, with a lot of that being direct traffic. People are just coming here. They're playing sandboxels, until they're tired of playing sandboxels. The site is, of course, monetized with display ads, as I showed here on the previous screen, but it's got just sort of some really interesting features as well. They've got a guest book that you can sign, and now I lost where that was. Oh, here it is. It's basically just a Google Doc, and people are indeed, signing this Google Doc. It's like an old school, this is May 10th, 2024. Right? People are still signing it, but it feels like a mid-90s type thing. Oh, I'm not even sharing the guest book. Here it is. Here is, people signing the guest book. This is what it was like to be on the web in the mid-90s. You'd go sign.
This is so GeoCities.
GeoCities is exactly what it is. They're about pages, pretty limited. I like that it gives a little sound icon if you don't know how to pronounce R74N.
R74N.
It lets you know how to do that. It was founded in 2017, and just mentions that most notably sandboxels and the copy-paste dump are the most popular things on here. So anyways, that's my weird niche site. They've got it. It's just like a whole collaboration of like games and little tools or widgets all on the homepage, and you use it to your heart content.
That is weird. And I think the weirdest thing is how popular it is. This is the type of site, and you and I have been doing this for a while now, where I fully expect it to get 30,000 page views a month.
Right. Almost 1 million visitors a month.
I noticed on Sandboxels that, because it's a game, right? So time on page has to be decent. You're playing a game. Yep. And I noticed that full banner footer ad that sits, not really footer, but it sits on page. There it pops up.
There it is.
And that's a big banner. That's a big ad. I've got to imagine that most people are playing this on their desktops. I don't know that, but I'm guessing that looks like a very desktop game. Looks like it'd be hard to play mobile.
I agree.
Man, RPMs, you got to be making some decent money on this.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Maybe this is somebody's full-time gig.
Maybe. That or it's their beach in Hawaii payment.
Oh yeah, certainly. It covers a lot of expenses. So anyways, that's what I found. Again, we share these to maybe inspire people, think about what they're building and what they might be able to do. And if they want a fun game to play, here you go. Sandboxels.
Well, mine is not as cool. I feel
it's pretty tough to beat that.
And not that mine's bad, Mine just, I don't feel like mine is quite as cool. Mine, I'm just flipping rules here. Mine was given to me by a listener. I don't have the name in front of me with all the travel. Apologize. You know who you are. Thank you. And it is greenscreenmemes.com. Now, it's very apropos. We're talking Facebook. I interviewed Andy yesterday. You're talking Facebook. Memes are so popular on Facebook. And this is a, well, as they say, it's the biggest memes download website for green screen video templates. And so I had to do a little digging, but what you would do is use this. These are memes that you can kind of put in your videos to like sit over top of things, to add. And so it's, yeah, at first I'm like, what the heck? But so you can get a cat sleeping next to a phone. You can get a not my problem meme. You can get a laughing meme. I love the hustle. All these different memes.
Yeah.
And you can, since they're on a green screen, you can kind of copy paste them into your videos and use them, maybe for your upcoming YouTube video on your Facebook challenge.
Exactly. It's like a little widget you throw in as you're editing your video, right?
Yep, exactly.
You got a punchline. You have this Kevin Hart meme or something. I don't know.
And I'm thinking, because there's one YouTube person who I've watched several of their videos on their Amazon influencer results, and they've got, if it's not these, it's something very similar. They've definitely grabbed memes with green screen backgrounds and dumped them onto their YouTube videos. So I've definitely seen this in action before. So a couple things about it in terms of their website. It's a well done website. I think we all recognize the theme and the site generator and all that. Not very popular. Certainly no numbers like what you have, unless on SimilarWeb they're blowing it out of the water. DR27, they rank for 6,000 keywords, getting just in 5 figures for monthly traffic. Interestingly enough, though, they've done well through all the 2024 updates. No hits from
that's right.
HCU. They did well in some of the recent. They had an up and down, I think, at the end of the year, but overall, they have come out ahead on their traffic through these updates. They have almost 2,000 pages, so they have a lot of different memes they've created, and they get a lot of branded search traffic. If you go to their keywords they rank for, and so again, interesting, just things we talk about with HCU and what they liked and didn't like, and where Google's going these days. Branded search traffic, not really focused on giving somebody a product or a service, all that kind of stuff. They do have ads. They're pretty minimal. I also noticed there's a login screen, which I think is weird. So if you click on one of them, go to like the top 100 memes there. Oh, you're there. Yeah. So they got ads. I mean, they're fairly prominent. They're right sidebar, left sidebar. If you click on one of the memes, you can download it though right away. You don't have to log in. And then in the upper right, they have a login and upload. So didn't deep dive it, but trying to figure out the relationship. I thought maybe they're trying to go for getting you to log in, get your email address before you download something. That's not what they're playing. So it looks like it's just all about user-generated files that are given and provided, and then ad revenue from the traffic.
Yeah, interesting.
But again, I mean, how easy is this? Make memes, put them on green screens, put them up on a website, chuck it full of ads. It's all free. This stuff starts getting shared. It starts becoming a resource for people, and you're in revenue.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a little bit of hustle, right, to gather all this, but totally, you're right. I mean, it's not some fancy technology that have invented or anything. It's really just a library of videos and sounds and memes, right, that they've all compiled into one large database. So interesting. Yeah, there probably are a lot of things, different angles you could go, whether it's a specific niche, right? Or just go broad like they have, any and all memes. But yeah.
So Spencer, I've got an idea for you. You take videos of people running, you put funny memes on it, because people running is not that interesting. You take some memes from here, you embed that each of these YouTube videos on a blog post, and then you start doing funny memes on Facebook that drive people to these blog posts.
This is a good idea.
If you're ever short on, if you're coming in to the 11th hour there and you haven't hit your traffic goals, that's one to put in your back pocket.
Absolutely. I plan on mixing any and all, right? The idea is just try a bunch of things, whether it's funny stuff, serious stuff, motivational stuff. See what the page likes, Maybe it's going to be memes.
Yeah, memes are certainly popular, especially with social media. and what a creative way to again, to your point, little hustle required, but really not a complicated concept.
Yep. So it's a good one. No, I would call that a weird niche site. I think you're selling yourself short. I think that's a great find.
Not every site can be tree.fm.
Tree.fm, which, I need to listen to this week while I'm working. But well, very good. We've covered the news. We've covered our side hustles and the weird niche sites. And you are probably going to need to rest up and go party tonight, at the conference. I know how you are. And so you'll be,
yes.
You're going to be partying hard with everyone there at the conference, planning to conquer the world as we do at conferences. So.
I'll definitely be going, but I'm sure you can understand this, Spencer. As a father of two, what I'm really looking forward to is an early night in bed without anybody bothering me.
That's going to be the best part. Oh, I tell you what, that could be a whole episode, but I agree with that statement. Well, enjoy some peace and quiet then.
I'll do a little of both. How's that? I'll do a little of both. But if you are a listener and you are at the conference, I know it is a smaller one, you're out here to learn about email marketing and content creation, would love to say hi. And maybe next week I'll share a few things that a few of the key golden nuggets I picked up.
That sounds excellent. Well, very good, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey there, thanks so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Did you know that Jared and I are members of a private group called the Niche Pursuits Community? And today I want to share with you how you can join for just $1. The Niche Pursuits Community is a private members area for niche online publishers to mastermind and grow their businesses together. We hold weekly calls live with experts where you can ask questions. These experts share tips on Amazon Influencer, Google Discover, building email newsletters, getting traffic from Facebook, and other strategies to grow your online business. You'll also be assigned a mastermind group of 4 or 5 other people in a similar stage in business as you. Dive deep into your business issues and get your problems solved. If you use coupon code PODCAST at checkout, you'll get your first month for just $1. Go ahead and give it a try. Come join me, Jared, and lots of other digital entrepreneurs inside my private group at community.nichepursuits.com. And be sure to use coupon code PODCAST. I'll see you on the inside.